All right, now we're moving into part two of my 2016 albums. I don't really remember the ordering of this list because I made it a while ago, but we'll see what's next. Woo, yes. Oh, this is a good one. So 2016 saw the release of Animal Collective's Painting With, which didn't get great reviews, especially from the places that used to be very kind to Animal Collective, like Pitchfork, one of the biggest Animal Collective boosters way back when their career was just kind of starting. Just they just didn't seem to have the magic in it. That it was lacking some quality that was really kind of hard to put your finger on while you were listening to it, because it still kind of hit all the same aesthetic notes and musical motifs and stuff that they had been known for, especially with their last few albums. But there was just something gone. And it wasn't until Deacon, who's a member of Animal Collective, who didn't appear on Painting With, released this EP at long, long last. I think there was like some controversies and stuff in the production of this, but whatever. He released it at long last, and I realized this is pure distilled concentrated form of what was missing from Painted With. It's like a very repetitive, kind of droning album with these huge sprawling tracks that build up instrument by instrument with these kind of small whispered mantras drifting in and out, and like clearly positive but not always understandable lyrics kind of whispering their way here and there, and just really gorgeous tones and harmonies that we're allowed to just kind of chill out on and appreciate for sometimes minutes at a time before things change. There's sometimes little elements of abrasiveness or noisiness, but only to kind of serve a greater point of transitions and larger structures within the song. And this is like the sheer magic of Animal Collective that I really, really liked on their earlier albums. That they just, it just doesn't feel like they have the reverence for themselves to execute anymore. And I guess it was just kind of Deacon going off on his own and traveling around the world and really trying to instill these things into himself, that he was able to really give them the space they deserve. So I don't know. It's a really hard one to explain if you don't just listen to this sort of music already. But I would really check it out. It's not that long, and it'll give you, I think, a very good picture of the kind of magical moments that Animal Collective is so good at providing over their career. And if it doesn't do that for you, then probably the band isn't really for you, but that's fine too. But if it is, it's definitely worth finding out because they're a great band. Yeah, something else I was gonna say about this. I don't know, maybe not. Okay. Now we have Pseudopigraphia by Matroshka. Matroshka is one of my favorite artists working in the world right now. Their album Later on It in 2012 is easily a top 5 album of all time for me. I'm just over the moon in love with it. This is a remake album of that album, as they've done with their previous album Zetrasin. Matroshka enlisted a bunch of their label mates and other electronic artists to remix their work, put together a little compilation of them. It's good. I mean, I put it on this list, so obviously I really like it. But it's like you can tell some of the artists went into it with a real reverence for Matroshka's music that matches up with the things I like about it. And all they really wanted to do is highlight those moments in a more intense way. So things like World End Girlfriend's remix of Cut All Trees, he just kind of explodes the sound that was already there in the original, and really just kind of amps it up a bit. Whereas other artists on here did much more of like a remix as like a transformative exercise. And those were quite good too. Like, I think all of the artists involved here are very talented and creative, and I'm enthralled to see their styles. But because I'm just so fond of the original, I sometimes found them like almost like distressing, or frustrating. So it's like a very mixed emotion that I go into this album with. So it's an intense mix of emotions though. And as I said, the moments where it does capture and re-express and reflect that initial glory that I really love about this album, it hits high points that like few other albums on this list are able to. So yeah, I don't know. Check out the original for sure, and then if you like the original, check out this too. But it's a mixed recommendation. By the way, pseudepigraphia is non-canon writing about saints. I think that's such a cool word. I was so happy with that album title. They always have such great aesthetics in general, and this kind of like flowery montage collage type thing that they use for all their album covers, I think is super cool too. Anyways. Ooh, now we have Ritual. This is the latest album by the Swedish jazz collective Fire Orchestra. I first heard about this band, so silly, on Mew. Someone kept uploading one of their songs without telling anyone what it was. And it became this kind of like meme of like this phantom album that no one could identify, but a lot of people really liked. Until finally somebody was like, no, I know what this is. This is Fire Orchestra. And then I just started listening to Fire Orchestra. I'm like, yeah, this is great. I'm not a huge jazz fan. I really like what I like, but I haven't explored the genre in depth yet. But sometimes an album comes along that just hooks me, and a lot of their work has. It's very like riffy jazz, lots of kind of big climaxes, almost structured more like post-rock than kind of a traditional jazz session. A lot of vocal work that I think is really good. Just this woman screaming about rituals and fire and all these kind of mysterious, evocative things. It has kind of this burning energy throughout the whole 5 tracks that just keeps growing and exploding and growing and exploding, and it's really just a very fun listen, I think. There's nothing really pretentious about it. There's nothing like that. I don't know. I don't want to like sell it short either, because I do think it's like a work of genius. But it's never so difficult or inexplicable that you can't kind of guess where it's going. And it's that feeling of anticipation that you get, especially on repeated listens, but even the first time you sink your teeth into it, that I think makes it so compelling for me. Like I said, it mirrors a lot of the structural things I really like in post-rock, but with this suite of amazingly played jazz instruments. So yeah, check it out. I love this album cover too. Next we have... Woo! So this is one that I got into only fairly recently. I can't even remember why. I think I was literally just kind of scrolling through some stuff that I had legally acquired. And I saw it and I was like, that's a cool name. And I think I probably got it from a Pitchfork review in the first place. But oh my god, this is like some really one-of-a-kind music. It's the vocal part is not so untraditional. It's kind of a mix of like kind of gospel-y things almost, classic R&B kind of styles, like very beautiful, powerful singing, lots of almost operatic drama to it, but it's layered over production from the Haxon Cloak, who produce like dark drone music. I think the thing that may capture their style the best, if you haven't heard to them, is there used to be a game on Mew where you would listen to the public Detroit police feed. So it's like staticky conversations of officers going like, we need backup, robbery in progress. And then another person going, tell your location. And then you play the Haxon Cloak over that, and it just sounds like the world is ending. Like, it just sounds like the apocalypse unfolding before you. So big, deep, droning sounds. And here they vary it up quite a bit. There's kind of orchestral parts and a lot of like really interesting melodic flourishes, but it is sad. I think outside of music, like in terms of unabrasive music, in terms of music that is just beautiful to listen to, this is some of the stuff that has made me feel the saddest. Um, a lot of it is in the lyrics. The lyrics express this. I. It's not explicitly really about too much. There's like a few lines that hint that it is a romantic queer relationship where he is bemoaning kind of the trauma that is accumulated in his lover and wishing that they could express themselves together more clearly and connect, um, and speaking really explicitly about like suicide and about self-hatred and about this sort of trauma in a way that really kind of reminds me of like Shushu or Mount Erie. That it's not a euphemism, it's not a joke. This is like the real sadness of their lives. But it's beyond this kind of queer, tragic, implicit theming. A friend of mine that I was talking about this with pointed out that like you could really easily read a lot of these lyrics as um, him struggling with a relationship with God, or him struggling with a relationship with society in general, or with music, or with himself, or in all these ways. Like it finds that sweet spot between explicitness and ambiguity that really gives it a sense of the universal. So in that sense, it really becomes even more haunting, especially with these hacks and cloak melodies underneath. Like, oh man, I don't know. I almost like had to ban myself from listening to it. I started doing. I was like trying to keep track of what I listened to while I was walking to work, and then like how able I was able to keep happy and engaged and work throughout the day, and this like performed at like the bottom that it just made me so miserable, and yet at the same time it's so beautiful that you can't deny it, you can't shut out the miserableness. You even find yourself humming the darkness of the leaves has come, forgiveness has not and then you're just like, oh, probably never gonna be happy. It's just, I don't know, man. It's the feeling of like a deep dark cloak descending over you, and it's warm, but it's just infinite dark, and it feels like never gonna see the other side of this, but I will be warm underneath it. Yeah, his new album is coming out soon, so I'm looking forward to that, making the spring a season of misery. No, I don't know, man. I am just so impressed with Serpent with Feet. It is unbelievably well done music. So I really think this new album is like an album of the year contender. Anyways, yeah, check it out. It's pretty short. It's just an EP. It might ruin your day, but gotta check it out. Okay. Then we have A Tribe Called Quests. We got it from here. Thank you for your service. This album is amazing. Amazing just in its conception. Rap is such a fast evolving, hyper mutating genre that branches out Hydra-like at every single divergent point. And that's what I love about it as a genre so much. So for a rap group like A Tribe Called Quest, who had their heyday in like the early 90s and hasn't made music in, I believe, over a decade as a group like this, to want to make a comeback seems so doomed. And the fact that they want to make a comeback with like a double album where they bring in all of kind of the big guests of hip hop today, and then like the living legends from their day too. And they kind of want to keep it in the original style, but maybe like spice it up a little bit with these influences. That again, it just seems so foolish. It seems like uh, such an ambitious but tragic project. And there was a real tragedy in this project when Fife Dog, one of the founding members, died partway through its production. Um, it just seems like that should have been the final nail. That this just can't work, but it does. Oh, it does. I had no hope for this. I really didn't. But as soon as I heard Q-Tip rap and like the opening lines, there's a part where the beat kind of comes in a little unexpectedly, and it's like a real classic Tribe beat. Dun 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 dun. And I was like, oh no. Oh, I'm an idiot. Like, why did I doubt them? Why did I think hip hop had moved past this? Why did I think I would find this cheesy or out of touch? Like, these are some of the most passionate geniuses that the genre has ever seen. These are guys that have really drilled down into the essence of the genre and instilled it with all of these other influences so expertly and so passionately. And why did I doubt that Busta Rhymes could still rap? Why would I think that him coming back and trying to rap back in his dreadlocks mode, trading lines and verses with Q-Tip, he still got it. He still got it like 10,000%. His verses on this album just make me want to like roar. Like, they're so full of energy and youthful spirit. The collaborations too. You got Kendrick, you got Kanye. You can tell the reverence they have for this project. Well, I mean, Kanye is in a really weird roundabout sense that I can't begin to explain, but there's like an appreciation that we're working with the living legends of hip hop, and that we too have become these living legends, and that we have to take this seriously. That the genre may be in a place right now where a lot of the biggest acts and biggest trends are all about effortlessness and about pure emotional expression, and not really so much about craft or deliberation. But that there is still a place for that. There is still a place to work that hard and have it be appreciated. Oh, man. Oh, and Andre 3000 on this album is fantastic. I can't imagine. Like, in retrospect, I should have realized it would be good. I should have had a little more faith in just the sheer talent of the people involved, and the fact that, especially in the wake of Fife Dog's death, they wouldn't do a half-assed thing. They wouldn't just knock something out for the sake of it or because their bank accounts were running low. That it would be an appreciable artistic project. But even if I had the sense to realize that before I heard it, I still wouldn't have guessed that it would be this good. That it would hold up so well over 2 discs and like 20 songs. Nah, it's great. Yeah, check this one out for sure. That's our last album for this part. Got another 10 to go. I hope you're enjoying this blast from the recent past. I hope you'll check out some of these albums. And I hope you're looking forward to figuring out the top 10. If you can guess them in the comments, I'll give you a prize. Maybe, I don't know. I said it, so I guess I'll have to, but I'll have to figure out what that means. I don't know. I feel like you probably can't guess anyways. Okay, see ya.